When I was growing up, I never knew my biological father. He left our family when I was a baby. My mom remarried a wonderful man, and I will always consider him to be my true father. My stepdad and I were very close. He was always there for me, and I loved him so much. He was my greatest motivator. He made me believe in myself, and he encouraged me to go to community college and study nursing. And that's exactly what I was doing when I got the horrible news. My stepdad had been murdered. I couldn't believe it. The shocking part was that it was his own first cousin who killed him. He shot him dead over a measly $55. That was the worst day of my life. I was devastated. I became depressed. I dropped out of school, pretty much dropped out of life. I would eventually get a good job, and in time I met a man who I really felt good about. He was in the Navy and seemed to have a good, strong character. My son from a previous relationship, TJ, really needed a father. The thing I found most appealing about him was that he wanted to be a good daddy to TJ. 4 years later, we had a little girl, Brittany. I felt like everything was going well. Of course, we had some struggles. It takes lots of time, energy, and of course, money to raise children. But overall, I felt like we were happy. The day that Brittany turned 1, he came home from work with an armful of toys for her. And then the next day, he was gone. He just left and never came back. I believe the pressure of fatherhood was just too much for him. Now it was up to me to raise both of my children by myself. I was determined to get it right. These are my kids, and I'm not letting them down. I knew I had to bring in more money, so I went back to school to finish nursing. After I graduated, I got a good job as a nurse's aide, and I was able to do that for 3 years. When one day on the job, I was asked to pick up a large piece of equipment, a knee therapy machine, and while lifting, I severely injured my back. I had to have surgery twice, and ultimately, this led to other health issues. I developed migraines, digestive problems, and on top of all this, I was diagnosed with diabetes. My neurologist told me I had to stop working, but I convinced him I could work at least 20 hours a week. Needless to say, that was not enough to pay our bills. When we could no longer afford our own place, my brother offered a spare room for me and Brittany to share. While we were blessed with the generosity of my brother, it was very hard living in a place that was not our own. We didn't see eye to eye on parenting, cooking, and sometimes cleaning. The place was very cramped, and it was very stressful for Brittany as a teenage girl to have to share a room with her mother. I could see the effect of our homelessness was having on her. We had always been close, but suddenly she pulled away from me and argued all the time. Brittany also lost her confidence and stopped talking about going to college after high school. While Brittany has always been shy, she found it harder to make friends and have a normal teen life. She would never leave my brother's place and refused to go to parties with friends or anywhere. She felt if she went to a friend's house, they would ask to come to her house. And she was too embarrassed by our situation to take a chance that anyone at school would find out. When you are homeless as a teenager, the most normal interactions are stressful. We felt so helpless. We had no control over the situation. This was not our home. I felt like I was losing my daughter. Luckily, we finally found a place we could afford through the Children's Home Initiative with Foundation Communities. Through this program helps homeless families like ours get back on our feet and succeed. When we moved into M Station, I could see an immediate change in Brittany. The day we got our apartment, she walked into her room, the first room she had to herself in a couple of years, and said, "This is mine," with a big smile on her face. We don't fight like we used to, and Brittany's confidence has returned. She is talking about going to college again and has even applied for her first job. I've gotten help as well. Before we moved in, I had taken out 6 payday loans to make ends meet. With the help and support of services here, I now have a better job, and I have been able to replace the high-interest loans with payments I can afford in financial coaching through Foundation Communities and the Fresh Start program. Brittany and I can dream again and plan for a better future. We are so thankful to Foundation Communities and the voters here in Austin for creating a place that we can now call home again.